Welcome back, everybody, to All Access with the Profs. We are Rowan Roundtable. I'm Ryan Ravel. Alongside Ryan Haggerty, he is the softball beat writer for the Wit. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Let's get right to it. The softball team, as you know, just got back from Florida, along with the baseball team. They went 9-1, I believe. Things are looking bright, and now conference play, NJAC conference play, is about to start. So, what are your expectations for the Lady Profs this year in the NJAC?
You know, for me, I think expectations are really high. You got a lot of players left, a lot of new players in. But when I talk to some of the captains, the coach, they think they're shooting for the title again. But when you look at the overall picture, you got a lot of top to bottom. It's a tough conference. Every game is gonna be close. They played the bottom of the conference last year, and they still lost a couple close games. So it's gonna be really tough. And people will look at the Florida and Virginia games and think coming in it's gonna be real easy sledding, but that's not usually the case because they usually always are dominating the Florida and Virginia games, and then once you get around to the conference games, it's going to get really tough. But I think they should do all right, and especially when you have a head coach like Kim Wilson, who eclipsed 500 wins last year. And when you have a coach like that, and you have a young team, she can do a lot with this young team, I think. And then you have a couple seniors and captains who've been playing for 3-4 years now, and I think they can really guide the young players. And I think, the first couple games, against William Patterson and Kane, you got Kane this weekend on Saturday, got William Patterson on Tuesday, and it's going to be a real test for the young players because, heading into those games, they haven't really been battle tested by tough teams, and if they can come out with, a one win or even two, like they come out with 2 wins or maybe even 1 win from those games, that'd be a really good start for them.
Yeah, like you said, the NJAC is a very tough conference. It's going to be a lot harder than the games they had in Florida. So from top to bottom, it's pretty tight, you said.
Yeah.
So which out of those teams, if you had to choose, do you think is going to be the biggest competition for the Rowan Lady
Well,
Profs?
unanimously, Montclair was picked to finish first by all 10 voters, so that's got to be the toughest team. Last year they finished 44-9, and that's even better than Rowan's 39-9 record. And they've returned a lot of players, and they're gonna be a real tough team to beat. But then you look at Kane, who they're facing on Saturday. That's also going to be a really tough team, and then you got William Patterson, going to be a really tough team, and it's going to be real tough conference play, and I think it's going to be interesting to watch.
And there's the top 4 teams right there, I believe, correct? Montclair,
Yeah.
Rowan, Kane, and William Patterson.
So
So there you go. So last year they did lose a lot of key players, as you said. However, they have a lot of younger freshmen, sophomores coming up, hopefully stepping up this year. How do you think those younger players are going to do this season?
I think they're going to do great. Starting with Shyla Sneed. Shyla Sneed is the shortstop, and she has played extremely well. She leads the team in batting average, 395. So for a freshman to lead the team in batting average, she must have came in with a lot of confidence. It's even if you're a good player, it's tough to start off that well. And then you look at she's tied for the team lead in runs, and then you got a player like Ashley DeYoung, who I think is designated player when I read her on the stat sheet. But she's a real good hitter. She's doing well. She at 293 average, and I think she's tied for the team lead in RBIs. And you got new players like sophomores Kate Busman and Alyssa Romero are playing well, and young pitchers like Beth Ann Highland and Christy Maronsky, who's a junior actually, but she doesn't have a lot of experience, and they're pitching really well. So I think the young players will produce.
No, do you think there's any older players who you think are going to have to lead those younger players? As you said, Shyla Sneed already off to a great start, but there's still some young players who got to get used to the swing of things. Are there any leaders on this team who could help mold them and get them used to college softball?
Yeah, Stephanie Labos and Jennifer Acella definitely have a lot of experience, and especially when you have a junior named team captain, that's a real honor. I saw it this year in volleyball. They had 3 junior captains. And now Jennifer Arcella, who has 2 years experience, she's a great player. She was given that honor. And Stephanie Labos, a real power hitter. And when I'm talking to those players, they really show me that they will be able to lead these players. And also talking to the young players, they've learned a lot from them just from the off season and early on in the season, and they're just soaking in everything, because when you're starting as a freshman, you're gonna be playing for 4 years, and you want all 4 years to be great. And if you got players like Shyla Sneed who's starting off this well,
it looks good for them.
Yeah, and it shows well for the captains.
Definitely. Last question I'm going to throw at you here. We were talking earlier, actually, before we got on the show. how Jimmy Minix last year was one of their top pitchers is gone. You mentioned a lot of these young pitchers coming in now. Who on this team do you think has the best chance to fill that hole? Because it's a big gap on the pitching rotation that needs to be filled. It's a big part of this team. Who do you think will replace Jimmy Minix this year?
Well, when I talked to the coach and I asked her, who's gonna fill that second spot, she answered she doesn't really know if there's gonna be a 1 or 2 spot. She said, she might mix it up. She might actually, have like 3 pitchers per game. But when I looked at the Florida and the Virginia games, Beth Ann Highland was a really good freshman, and she pitched really well in a couple games. And then Christy Maronsky, she is a junior, but she doesn't really have much pitching experience. She pitched really well, so I think those 2 players combined will probably be really good in that second spot. Maybe one of them will jump out somewhere in the season and take over that second role, and that'd be great for the team if you could have a 1-2 punch come in there.
Yeah, definitely. So it's going to be a team of a lot of young players, but they still have some veterans to help mold them up. They're projected to finish 2 this season behind Montclair, so good things hopefully coming out of the team this year. That's going to do it all for us here on Rowan Roundtable. When we come back, Chris and Tom will be back to talk about more stories of the sports week that was here at Rowan, so stay tuned.